Welcome to Uncanny X-Minutes, where we bring you the comics behind the movies. I'm Stasha.
Producer James.
We're here to talk about the Wolverine minutes 30 through 40.
Would you like to know what happens?
Yes, please.
Old man Yoshida dies.
Aww.
And then they have his funeral, where Mariko is almost killed by ninjas. And then fight, and more fight. And we realize Wolverine's healing factor is not working. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, not the funeral part, but like the attack by ninjas. Like we talked about that in the earlier comic book.
There is an interesting line, though, that Yukio says that she did not see his death. She's like, I didn't see it coming. Because, spoiler alert, later in the movie, he's not dead.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that later in the movie. But for those watching minute by minute, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yes, Wolverine losing his healing factor. There's more instances than you would think. Only a couple before the movie came out.
Oh, really? Okay, so it became more of a thing
I would say so.
The ones that I'm more familiar with are more recent. So that makes sense.
Well, there's a couple Claremont examples, but it seems to be more the fact that his healing factor is not as like chunky as it is nowadays.
Yeah, I'm curious how you describe it, because like to me, I remember that era of just his healing factor just being not as good as it is now. But I'm curious what your opinion is. That's the case when the first time he fights Lady Deathstrike. Yeah.
Is that it takes him a long time to heal from it. So it's just that it's kind of in that realm if you were looking at it. But it was never he lost his healing factor.
Right.
So that was like, we're talking 205, 207, Uncanny X-Men. In 236, Wolverine and Rogue are teleported to Genosha against their will. And they meet up with a magistrate named Wipeout. And Wipeout takes away their abilities. Like both their mutant abilities are just straight gone.
I forgot about Wipeout. I'm sorry.
It's just like a fat white guy.
Okay.
Like, maybe not fat. He's a chunky white guy.
Yeah.
And they get it back after a couple of issues in 238 when Psylocke basically controls Wipeout and gives them their powers back.
Okay.
So it's like a leech, but a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
Actually, it's exactly like Leech. I guess Leech is a little more active than in the movies, right?
Yeah, it is, because it's just like if you're within a certain like radius or whatever. Sometimes.
So I think it's kind of like that.
Okay.
But if you walk away from Leech, it comes back, right?
Yes.
That's not the case with Wipeout.
He has to give it back.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
okay, so
I
he's
guess
like
he turns on and off.
So we were gonna kind of talk about this, and we can wait till later. I never thought about that. That is kind of like stealing powers, but you're not using them, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's like, I guess stolen in the sense of like, I took them away from you.
Because I returned them.
But it's not in the sense of like, they are mine now.
And I can use them.
It's not transference of power.
That's actually a better description.
It is but it is stealing powers.
Yes.
Because in this movie, I hope you've seen the Wolverine by this point. It is a transference of power in this.
Yes, exactly.
And then weird nanobot stuff.
Which was
it's not a
big thing
nanobot. It's like one big like Matrix looking thing wrapped around his heart.
Yeah, but I do think like the internal mechanics. I mean, we're not really talking about it here, but the nanomachines and stuff like that with Lady Deathstrike, I do feel like might have been a little bit of an inspiration for that part of this movie, because like it is like there is an era in which there were nanomachines everywhere.
Right. I mean. Yes, I feel like they were a little more or a little less elegant in the 90s, where it was like you could see the machine.
Yeah.
You know, whereas nowadays you get like Tony Stark's suit is made out of nanites.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's like as to be so small as to like not be actually relevant.
They're microscopic nowadays, which nanite should entail that. But I feel like they used nanites in the 90s as just like, it can move on its own.
Yeah. And like they had like bigger bits like in the comics, like you just get such more like kind of almost cyberpunky like inspiration with that stuff, whereas now it's a little more sleek.
It's a little warlocky.
Yeah. I was thinking Warlock specifically.
And I mean the TO virus.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got that feel. The only other one I think I didn't get all dates on all these, but another one that was an interesting example is Age of Apocalypse. I know it's technically another Earth.
But it's like the best other Earth.
It's the best other Earth.
I mean, not to be in, but to read about.
No. But it is fun. But in that one, Wolverine doesn't have a hand.
Right.
This is a discussion then to be had.
Yes,
it's why he doesn't have a hand, because they don't really. They say the reason he doesn't have it is Cyclops.
Right.
So basically, Wolverine took out one of Cyclops' eyes. So in that universe, he literally only has one eye.
Yeah.
And Wolverine only has one hand, and apparently it was due to Cyclops blasting it off.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's a concussive blast and not heat-based.
Yeah,
partially.
But even then, like, I'm thinking, but let's talk about Wolverine's healing factor.
Let's talk about it.
That he should be able to grow his hand back.
He should be able to grow his
hand.
And
also, his Cyclops' beam should not have been enough to blow off the adamantium, period.
So I found an example of why this could possibly work, at least with the hand being blown off. He still should have been able to heal his hand back.
Okay.
But in Sabretooth War, which we're going to come back to later.
Oh, God.
There is an instance where they have, there's a whole army of basically Sabretooth variants who have tied him up using Omega Red's coils.
Okay.
Okay. And in order for him to get free, Wolverine cuts his hands and feet at the joints.
With his own claws.
Here is this is literally from the book. I actually wrote it down. My bones might be sleeved with adamantium, but my joints are made of meat and meat shreds.
Huh.
So he fights with no feet and just claws that come out of stumps.
Wow.
Which is exactly what happens in Age of Apocalypse, because he still has the claws in the one hand. He just doesn't have a hand.
Okay.
So
I am trying to think about, hold on a second, the logistics of that. I'm like thinking about bones all of a sudden. And I'm like,
let's
how?
Think about bones.
Like hands. And I mean, they're so like, okay. In your wrists and ankle, like,
where the meat bits are. Yeah.
Unless it was at the elbow. Was it at the elbow?
No, it was at the wrist.
Is that the wrist?
Yeah, because if it was at the elbow, you wouldn't have his claw anymore.
There's so many small bones with cartilage in between in your wrist. Like, he would have to be like, it wouldn't just be like slice. It would have to be like, you have to be carving it out.
Which with his own claws, one story.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's the Cyclops one that I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically you could say the concussive blast disintegrated everything that wasn't adamantium, and then the adamantium fell off.
We could do that.
We could assume that.
We could no prize that one.
We can. We did it. Success.
My coworker said that, in his opinion, Cyclops is overpowered in Age of Apocalypse, and Wolverine's a little underpowered.
Yes. I think anybody that is on the good guy side is underpowered to make the Age of Apocalypse seem so scary.
I agree.
Which is why Cyclops ends up being a little bit bumped up.
Sure.
Everybody kind of is bumped up, but just to show the menace, right, of being associated.
Well, you could also no prize it that Apocalypse bumped them up.
Right, which he has done to Angel. Like, we've seen it happen. So yeah.
So I'm just using the text.
Yeah, it seems totally plausible. All of a sudden I'm back in, James.
Thank you.
I love that you looked that up, knowing 100% I was going to have follow-up questions about this.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't look it up. I came across it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Because I wasn't going to be like, where did his hand go? Because then you get a bunch of... I'll be honest. I Googled something knowing there's an answer.
Yeah.
And the stupid AI suggestion was like, I was trying to see how he got back his healing factor after one of these stories.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, he doesn't get it back because it's inherent to his own. I was like, shut up, AI. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, nobody wrote this out, so you don't know how to steal it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
You need me saying it right now for you to even know it exists.
Yeah.
Okay. Now if you Google why does Wolverine not have a hand in an Age of Apocalypse, it's gonna put it right here. You steal my voice to use it.
It's gonna be great. I mean, that it makes so much more sense. Like I'm totally back in now. Yeah. Anyway.
How much do you know of Age of X?
Not a much. I do know that's the one where he becomes like the god, like the leader of men, or no?
This is an alternate timeline where like mutants are definitely hunted.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something different. So no, tell me about this.
It's Earth 11326.
Okay.
It took over the X-Men line for like a handful of issues. I don't know a ton about it because it feels a little messy.
Okay.
But in that universe, Dr. Rao came up with a cure, and Wolverine came after her, basically. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that she was like the double agent that was feeding him the information, and they were basically locked in a room with her and her like partner, who's the evil one.
Okay.
And the only way to get rid of the cure is to pump it into Wolverine and have his body synthesize it.
Okay.
But it was too much, and it just depowered him. So for the rest of the Age of X storyline, Wolverine's just not even really in it.
Wow.
Because he has no powers.
So he's been depowered. That's really interesting.
That's one of those instances where they actually do talk about adamantium poisoning. Because that is the other part of this, right?
Because that's the reason why he survives with the adamantium.
Correct. And we talked about it in the adamantium episode, but depending on who's writing,
yeah, that's true.
Adamantium poisons your body.
Yeah.
Not everyone remembers that. So when his powers get a little lesser or he loses them, some people just forget to talk about it.
Yeah. Though I have seen there's a couple issues where they have like the countdown too. Like some writers do lean into it for sure. But yeah, that I honestly I knew that, but also I never associate that with Wolverine really, like, because I never think about it, right? Like the adamantium is irrelevant compared to usually the other grievous wounds that he's suffering. So like, I'm not super thinking about that, but it makes sense.
One other, not our timeline, like non-616 timeline would be the Marvel Zombies timeline.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I hate zombies.
I know.
As a concept,
I could have guessed that walking into this conversation.
I interact with that. I know this makes me a bad podcaster for this X-Men podcast. I do not interact with it in any capacity.
Well, here's the thing though. I've read a lot of the Marvel Zombie stuff. It is barely X-Men.
Okay, that's great.
It's more of an Avengers thing and Deadpool.
Which obviously that makes sense.
We talked about Headpool.
Yeah.
I told you the important X-Men bits, and it's mostly Headpool.
Yeah.
Wolverine is in it. I'm going to say more of an Avengers capacity.
That makes sense.
So
what about like Scarlet Witch in them?
They go back and forth. But if it's an Avengers heavy thing, then they're Avengers. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. Yeah, I was just wondering if they were in it. Like
probably.
A little bit.
It's hard to say because a lot of they focus on certain characters, and there's a lot of background. Like
I see,
you can see heroes in the background
going
eating people and stuff.
Yeah.
So Wolverine is infected. So whatever the zombie virus is in the Marvel Zombies universe overpowers the healing factors of both Wolverine and Deadpool.
Right. Which Deadpool has the stronger healing factor, yes?
I think he does.
I'm pretty sure he does.
But then again,
after they retcon the one drop thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has to. We have to. And we're a minutia podcast. We have to be specific.
One drop happened.
Okay.
So yes. So Marvel Zombies is an example. If you want to go there.
That actually makes sense.
It exists. It's out there. There's the Muramasa blade in continuity, but I don't want to talk about it because there's a lot behind the Muramasa blade. Basically, short log line. It is a blade that will counteract healing abilities. But there's a story behind it that I don't have time to go into.
It's really important. There's a couple swords that are really important, and I would say the Muramasa blade is not quite as important as like the Soul Sword, but it
is important in Wolverine books.
Yes, absolutely.
Whereas the Soul Sword is more important in X-Men books.
Right. Yeah. But I'm saying it's like I do understand that there's like a level of respect for that sword. It's just like if you're reading just X-Men and you're not reading Wolverine, you might not realize that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There also is a storyline called The Death of Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Which I don't want to go into until Logan, when Wolverine actually dies. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you hadn't, it's been a while. There's also a instance of Laura X-23 having issues with her healing power.
Really?
There's one I found. It's in New X-Men number 31. So this is her hanging out with Surge and Landslide and Hellion. And anyway, there is a Nimrod that shows up, as he does, full on blast on Laura.
Okay.
And apparently it was too much for her to counteract. So she's still technically alive. Well, she is alive, but she's not healing.
She's not healing.
So Hellion picks her up and starts flying her back to the X-Mansion. And he can't get there even fast enough. So Emma Frost has to basically boost his powers. Like, take him over and be like, I'm gonna boost your powers.
Yeah.
He's going Mach something. They don't actually say how fast he was going, but he's out for a couple of days after this stunt because they had to get him to Elixir. Do you know Elixir?
No.
Josh Foley.
Tell me more.
So he's in the new X-Men. Yeah. He's fully gold. His skin is all gold. And he's part of the resurrection protocols of Krakoa.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I know.
He's actually been on X-Force during the Messiah War.
Okay.
And Second Coming, I want to say.
When they were still putting New Mutants and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they do occasionally. I mean, this wasn't a New Mutant. He's a new X-Men.
New X-Men, sorry. Excuse me. Not New Mutant.
I mean, like, Dust was in the team. Like, there are people in there. Yeah. No, I'm saying she was on this team. So you know who that is,
yeah.
least.
And Dust is also in Way of X too.
Yeah.
Which is
also
excellent.
Yes. Which is why you also know who it is. Other than that, the rest of the stuff is straight 616, Wolverine, whatever. There is an element that we have talked about that I'm bringing back up, and that's carbonadium.
Okay.
Do you remember carbonadium?
Jesus, absolutely not, James. I took that in. I remember you saying it.
Yeah. It's what Omega Red's bands are made out of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it is resilient. It's a resilient metal that is almost as strong as adamantium. It is not. But it is more malleable and cheaper to make. Problem is, it's radioactive. So Omega Red has a carbonadium synthesizer, which allows him to not die from the carbonadium. Mm-hmm. Wolverine Origins from 2006, number 6. We see like a flashback of Wolverine coming back from a mission. I guess he's working with the Weapon Plus program. They have him take a pill. And when he takes it, he's like, what's this thing? Because he doesn't care. He's going to heal from it. Yeah. And they're like, no, that's carbonadium. And he starts it starts actually affecting. So carbonadium will affect the healing factor.
Okay.
And so they shot him up with a bunch of bullets. And it turns out this whole thing's an experiment. So the next issue, you find out that it's 3 times slower than his normal healing factor. Wow. Then they finally remove it because that was the experiment that they needed to do. So carbonadium also affects him.
Can affect him. That makes sense because Omega Red is kind of a villain for Wolverine. So yeah, having stuff that helps negate some of his OP-ness makes sense.
It feels like, I don't know if it'd be lethal. That's the thing. Like, because he does heal from it. So I don't know if it's like totally like kryptonite.
Yeah, because it again, this is kind of going back to the writers, right? Because there are definitely times, especially early in Wolverine, like when you were talking about Claremont stuff, where like he also has a threshold, kind of like Laura did in that point where he had to fly her back. That like there's only so much damage he can take, and then he takes a really long time to heal. Yeah, and that, like you said, comes and goes, right? So like to me, it's like if it's 3 times slower, it might be like slow enough where he could potentially die from it. At least that's like,
I guess if you kept hitting him, he wouldn't. He might. Yeah,
like the conceit is that like yes, but it depends on the writer, I think, because sometimes that's not true at all.
Yeah, I want to jump up to Curse of the Mutants from 2010. So it's the X-Men run that starts in 2010, and it is the first storyline.
Okay.
It is the storyline where Jubilee gets turned into a vampire by Dracula's son Xeris.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Okay. Jubilee is used as bait for Wolverine to come save her. Yeah. But she's straight up vampire at this point. It was like she got hit by it doesn't matter. She got turned into a vampire. We don't really need to go into the details of that. So she ends up turning Wolverine into a vampire. Now, we've talked about Wolverine and vampires before, and you might go, well, that's weird, because I thought that the vampire infection, his healing factor can overcome that, because we've talked about him and Jubilee being off on adventures and her feeding on him. Mm-hmm. You'd be right. That is absolutely how it should work. But in this story, they wait like 3 or 4 issues before you're like, he's just a vampire now. That's just how it goes, right? So he shows up at the final battle, I believe on Utopia. I think that's this era. He's like more strong. His strength is increased because of the vampirism. So he's throwing X-Men left and right. He gets up to Cyclops, and Cyclops goes, oh yeah, maybe I should press this button. You remember when we took a sample of your blood to test how it would be affected by vampirism? Yeah, we put nanites in your blood, and these nanites shut off your X gene. So Cyclops allowed him to become a vampire as part of his plan, so that when they invaded, he could turn Wolverine back into good guy Wolverine.
Instead of being a vampire. So his healing factor kicks back in. He now is a good guy and then fights for the X-Men instead of the vampires. Incredible. That is insane. As you're reading it to me, I'm like, I've read that, and that I just kind of forgot. Like, it's an insane thing to forget.
In your eyes, you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Where are we going? That's how he got out of it.
That makes sense. And that's why, Jubilee can feed off of him while she's a vampire.
And then Jubilee was a vampire for the longest time.
Yeah, and then they put her back. But I liked it.
You don't sound happy about that.
Yeah, I'm not. I liked that. I thought that was a cool thing. Jubilee is such a cool character, and she's so bright and colorful. Mm-hmm. To have like someone whose iconic look is like highlighter yellow and pink to be a vampire, I actually thought was really
gum.
And bubblegum. It's just super cool. But
it's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna come back to the Sabretooth War. So we're talking end of Krakoa. Like, I think it might even be in the fall.
It might be right before, but yeah.
If it's not in it, it's right before it.
Yeah.
But we're definitely talking end of Krakoa. So this is where he has an army of Sabreteeth, which they refer to as Sabreteeth in the books. What Sabretooth's plan is, he has killed Daken. He killed Daken, and it was one of those birthday surprises for Wolverine.
Yes, I read that issue. It was horrific.
He also has killed Quentin Quire. Mm-hmm. So Kid Omega's dead, and he has his head in an Orcus Tech box that looks like an old school lantern. Like, it's just got a little handle on it, and it's just glowing pink because it's Quentin.
It's Quentin Quire, yeah.
Sabretooth's plan is to go into the heart of Krakoa to find the power neutralizer that Forge created. Mm-hmm. And he uses the Quentin box to not like mind control Wolverine, but to do like an augmented reality that they're on an old Task Force X mission. And so you get this like cool side by side of them. The left, like the one half is them actually doing the thing, and the other half is the perceived reality.
Yeah.
But at the end of the whole thing, Sabretooth does get the gun and shoots Wolverine with it, wiping his powers. Like, legitimately.
Wow.
Okay. Wolverine, like, he escapes, and he has Forge has also been working on a suit of armor, an adamantium suit of armor. So he dons a Wolverine adamantium suit of armor and a Muramasa blade to take on Sabretooth, who also has a healing factor, which is why their fights are so fun. They fight a bunch. Like, it is a scrap and a half, because there's also like a bunch of other stuff going on, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
They end up in the pit.
Okay.
After a while.
Where they had cast him down. Yes.
Where they cast Sabretooth down.
Yeah.
And the pit strips the armor off of Wolverine. And then you find out that that armor was reactivating his mutant ability this entire time.
Wow.
So it powered him back up. Now, mind you, this was like 4 issues. Like from like 46, I think, is where he gets the blast. And you're like, you don't have powers anymore. And then 50, he gets him back. So like, it's not a whole lot of time for someone who's not reading Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because you're probably like, Wolverine has powers. What are you talking about?
I was like, yeah, but he always gets them back.
Right?
So like, I knew eventually you must.
So they reactivated his genes, and then they actually fight, and Wolverine wins, and Sabretooth's in a bunch of pieces. Which I don't know if he's come back from that yet.
Not that I know of. It's kind of hard to come back from killing Quentin Quire and Doc Ock like that.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, I just said the death of Wolverine, but I'm just, like, that's before Krakoa. But anything post-Krakoa, I'm now having trouble, because of the resurrection protocols, of tracking who's dead and who's alive.
Because they can just be alive. Like,
I know.
They could just be, like, you can just be like, no, there was another one of them. That's it.
I found out Banshee was still alive by reading Infinity Comics.
Yeah.
You know? I actually don't know if I read how Quentin Quire's back.
I don't think
I'd have to
read it either, but I know he is.
But he is. And part of me is like, I got to go looking for that because I wasn't actually thinking about it.
Orcus had some Quentin Quire bodies, so he has a couple of ways.
Boy,
to get...
we might need to talk about all the Wolverine nonsense with all the bodies
skeletons.
He's been...
Yes, the Wolverine skeleton planet.
I'm sure we'll get into that.
That's a real
one
thing.
Of these times.
I have one thing to talk about if you want me to.
I think that's all I had written down.
Cool, great. So I know we're kind of jumping around, but I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier about the concept of like stealing powers.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this and I was trying to think of a mutant who did that. Like, who actually stole powers. And obviously Rogue.
I was going to say, Rogue's the perfect example of, like, literally leeching the power off of you and using it for herself.
Yes. But I was like, is there somebody else that does it? And then, there's a couple of the ones which is, like, leech where, like, they can make your powers go away, but there's no transference of powers like they do in this movie. And I was thinking about it, who else besides Rogue, and I finally came across one, and I remembered that M-Plate exists.
M-Plate does exist.
Do you know about M-Plate?
Yes, I bet, but go on.
Yes, so, okay.
He's some Generation X nonsense.
He is. But he is the one thing of Generation X that I like, which is...
Well, Chamber exists.
That's true, actually. Never mind. That is number one.
And
M-Plate
Husk.
is two. Husk is okay. All
right, Chamber exists.
Chamber exists. But I will say, I do really like Monet.
Yeah.
And I like the twins, and I like the Penance is weird, but, like, it's fine. Like, we won't have to get into that. All this to say, M-Plate is Marius St. Croix. So he is, you may have heard Monet St. Croix, the twins, and we've talked about them in other episodes. And they're
all characters that are not in the comics, or not in the cartoons, not in the movies, not in the TV shows.
They're, like, I think in one of the newer X-Men, like the X-Men post 90s 2000s one, there was Monet might have been in one of the episodes, but that's basically it. They're just siblings that are all mutants, and they have a very specific tragic backstory, which is that their brother became a mutant first, and he turned into this really insane monster. So he's got like mouths on his hands and stuff.
And not just like smiley mouths. We're talking
like teeth.
Like pointy teeth and long tongues.
Yeah, and he like shifts between dimensions and has to and has a hard time trying to maintain his form in a dimension. And how he feeds his power is he sucks the marrow from his victims, but also he takes their powers.
Yeah.
And very specifically, I remember this one issue, I think this might be X-Men Prime. He had kidnapped a bunch of the Generation X kids, and Jubilee was there. And Jubilee ends up tricking him to try to absorb her first, because she knows that her explosion powers are very hard to control, and that if he does it, which he does, he's gonna blow up basically, and he's gonna be pretty hurt and stuff like that, which that is how that ends up. But it's really interesting because M-Plate is not, he definitely takes powers, but that is not the reason why people are afraid of him.
No.
Like, that's, like, not really
He
relevant.
is terrifying looking. His design is terrifying.
It's so cool.
He looks like a monster.
It's
great.
such a cool, like, he also has to be on a ventilation system because, like, he's forcibly ripped between dimensions. It's not just like this kind of like ethereal float back and forth. It's like this.
It's not like an America Chavez that's just like,
no,
oh, I just punched.
Yeah, punch a star into the ground.
Not
No,
a big
he's like
deal.
being like constantly forcibly moved, and so his like body has like scarring, and then it ends up like scabbing over. So he kind of has this like exoskeleton, and like he's just like and it's crazy. It's a very interesting character design.
He showed up recently in the Infinity Comic Avengers Academy.
Okay.
So they brought him back recently.
He was also like in Krakoa too, because he was doing the same thing.
Well, this was post Krakoa.
Well, yes, obviously that's post Krakoa. But I was saying that I was surprised that they were using him and they had modified him so he was like taking a little bit of energy from everybody. But in that run, they didn't really do anything with like the powers because like I guess the argument could be like it was such trace amounts he couldn't replicate the powers.
Yeah.
But theoretically, he can. Like. Which I find it's so interesting that he has the same power as Rogue, kind of, but even worse and crazier. But like, that's not why you recognize him, even though that feels like such an OP power. But in Emplate's hands, it's not really relevant.
It's because he has to. It's even more up close and personal than Rogue. Rogue just has to touch skin to skin. He has to like wrap his hand mouths on you.
Yeah. I know, it's a crazy thing to say. But yeah. I mean, he's
very creepy in Avengers Academy.
I'm really excited. I want to read that. I've heard
such
good things. I've heard such good things about Avengers Academy. Brian's
there is one mutant on it. Escapade.
Okay.
She's a newer addition.
Okay.
I think she's a new mutant addition. Like she runs with the new mutants, but she's on the Avengers Academy right now.
Okay. Heard it's great. But yeah, so I'm sure there's some other ones, but like that was the one that I was like, oh wow, he really does just have that power straight up, but it's almost never relevant.
Well, I mean, when you're a villain, it's mostly relevant in your stories that you show up in. You go and you cause a little chaos, and then you go away for a little bit.
And then you get like until Krakoa, so you can act like kind of a superhero for
Yeah, a lot of the other ones are like copying powers where the person still has them but you also have them,
right?
It's not usually a stealing situation.
It's kind of the opposite of like leech style, right? Where it's like nobody gets them and the other one is just like everybody gets it.
I get everybody's.
Yeah.
One's nobody has powers and one's like I get everybody's powers.
Yeah, which is actually kind of fun. I mean, like there's a lot. Yeah, Mimic is like the first one I was thinking of. There's a lot more of those.
Yeah. Sync's the most like if you're jumping into new comics, Sync's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
Because technically, I guess it depends on the version. 616, at least with the Silver Age comics that I'm reading, he's not a mutant. Mimic. His was a lab accident.
Okay, interesting.
So, but he copies. I don't know if he copies non-mutants though. No, he does copy non-mutants. Because he was just like, he would just be as smart as everyone else. He was kind of a prodigy and Sync enrolled into one.
Into doing that. Which is like Rogue too, because like obviously Rogue famously.
But without touching anyone. Just being in the room.
But just yeah, that's definitely a crazier power for sure.
So,
right.
Anyway.
Well, that's it. That's all I wanted to throw in.
Cool.
Well, I'm Sasha.
I'm producer James.
And we'll see you for the next 10.